morning, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Happy Wednesday. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. As you see, we have a guest with us this morning, and we'll allow you to introduce yourself. And we're gonna basically, the point of today, what I want to do is, we're using this as a motivational Wednesday, wisdom Wednesday, just trying to bring you some knowledge, some information, things that you can use, things you can relate to. And what we bring on is, bring on our guest this morning. And our guest this morning is just like you and I. He's sometimes it's good just to hear other people's stories, because you can relate to what they did, and you can see how they dealt with some things that they went through, and how they're overcoming, and how they're still constantly today. They have struggles, they have issues, they have struggles, they have all those things, yet they continue to persevere. How and why they do that. And that's why we're going to bring some of these, some of these meetings to you. And that's kind of the point of the Happy Agent podcast as well, just trying to promote what we do as a brokerage, how you can be better at what you're doing by emulating other people out there and seeing that other people have the same kind of struggles you do. And so with that being said, I'll allow you to introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are.
You hear me okay?
I hear you good.
Oh, sweet. So, hello, everybody. Jimmy McNally. I work in the Apollo Beach office. I've been in real estate for about 3.5 years now.
3.5 years. Good. So, real quickly, I did have a chat in here I wanted to address. Jan asked, who's that speaker? He thinks like I do. That was Wayne Dyer was the one. If that's the last one that was speaking, Wayne Dyer was the speaker. He talks a lot about, cognitive thinking and, just the separation of your body and your spirit and everything and all of those kind of thoughts. So that was Wayne Dyer. But anyway, sorry, Jimmy. So this is Jimmy McNally. Jimmy McNally works out of our Apollo Beach office. Like you said, been in real estate now for, it's been only 3 years. I thought it's been a little more than that.
It's almost 4. I'm a little over 3.5, almost 4. And it's September 16th.
All right. So you've been in real estate for just over 3 years. What did you do before real estate? What's your background like?
So, well, actually, my background is I actually have a degree in teaching. It's funny. Definitely not doing well. I am doing that more now with the kids at home, so it's kind of nice to have that, which is kind of cool. But background-wise, I have been pretty much in retail almost my whole life. I've been a bartender, though, worked in restaurant management, but probably the thing that I've done, the job I had prior to getting into actually real estate is I worked at a company called Best Buy for 14 years, actually 14 long, hard years.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that. You spent 14 years at a place. Why did you stay there that long? Did you love your job? Did you love the people? Did you enjoy what you did? What made you stay at a job like that for that long?
Well, check all those boxes you just said. I love the people I worked with. I love what I did. I love developing, coaching. I was a district and territory trainer also for new managers coming in. So I had a great ability to be able to reach so many different people and have some fun doing it. And then on top of that, there's a lot of technology there. So, that I'm kind of a tech guru. I'd like to think that anyways. And being around the technology and how it can make people's lives better was something that was awesome for me. And I got to just do almost, it was just so much fun dealing with people.
Well, along those same lines, for those of you who don't know, Jimmy is part of a larger group with Century 21 Corporate, and he was asked for his input on what is it, the agent? I can't remember the name of it.
So I've actually been on a couple years. I was on the Century 21 Tech Council, Brokers Tech Council, which was about 12 brokers and a couple sales associates for Century 21. And then I got invited this year to be on Realogy's brokers technology committee, which consists of 15 brokers across the entire country. And there's only 2 sales associates, and there's only 3 people representing Century 21 in general. And I got chosen to be on that. And it's pretty sweet. I mean, everything's done virtually right now, but it's all around the new technology that's coming out with Realogy, everything from possibly a new CRM. Obviously, you guys have seen Zap, Agent X, onboarding tools, 21 Online, so many different things that they're allowing us to give them our insight, input, and even kind of test and play around with the stuff to see how it's working before it starts to really roll out.
So how did you get like how did you get connected with that, not that, but the first step, like getting invited to be on the tech council with them? How did that even come up?
Well, I think part of it was my background because I actually did a lot of councils and technology things with Best Buy. So I was on these councils where I would go to corporate and help teach things back on a territory level, and then I got introduced to a few people up in Realogy in Century 21, and I just had this knack for technology. And one of the things was that when I started with the company, that was kind of the CRM. That's what I learned. I didn't know any other difference. So I really took that and ran with that and was able to understand it and teach it back. And from that understanding and kind of my tech background, it was kind of an easy fit to be able to jump in there and give feedback. So it was a pretty sweet, like it's been awesome. It's definitely been awesome.
So basically, you used the systems, you dug deep into everything, just started doing it, using it, making it part of your business, making it part of just your schedule in your life. And then because you did that, you were opened up to opportunities.
Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah. I like the way you put that. That was great.
Well, that's kind of the point. And that's, throughout this, I want to try and make some correlations to that. So make some correlations to actions, to having a focus, taking action, and then getting results, or at least opening up to opportunities, because that's what this is all about. You have a brand new agent. You got invited on to be a part of the tech council, and that was in your first year of the business, or just right at the end of the year of the business, right?
Right after the end of the year. Yep.
So you have an agent who's a new agent, only been in the business for a year, and just dug in and started using everything that was available to him to try and create these opportunities. Doors started opening up, and it gave you an in to be able to communicate with people on the corporate side. And they invited you, one of only 3 agents, the rest of them brokers, to be a part of this tech council. So, sometimes that's all we need to do. Sometimes all we need to do is just plug in, get focused, like we talk about, and we tell you, choose a lane, pick something, get focused on that, and really put some energy into it. Because if you go at something with all of your energy and you say, okay, here's my focus, this is my goal that I want, and you take massive action to do it, you know why you're doing it, things start to open up like that. That's the whole point. All right, that's really cool. So you said you've done all kinds of other jobs like bartending and things like that. Which one was your favorite? What's been your favorite job, not real estate related? What's been your favorite job up to this point?
Well, I mean, it's weird because all my other jobs that I had were my favorite job at that time, because based on where I was in my life, whatever it was. So let's say bartending. I was at a time in my life where bartending was the perfect job for me to have. So at that time, it was absolutely amazing. Right now, I could never look back and be like, oh my God, I did those things. Like that's just crazy. I actually would say before real estate, like I would say Best Buy truly was. I had the capability of not obviously working with customers coming in and helping them in their daily lives, but I had the opportunity to coach and train new employees that never had a job before, and teach them about business and hopefully how to be a better person. And, seeing them develop still and get promoted still. And some of them are general managers now. It's just so cool to still see some of the things that hopefully I had that impact in their life. So hands down, that was the best job before this.
All right. So the $1 million question, that was your favorite job, loved it, was able to make an impact on people's lives, was able to get feedback to you that you were making an impact on people's lives. And, being somebody who, has a teaching degree and who loves to teach and communicate, why do you leave?
Well, it's retail. And I had a second child on the way. My son was just turning 4. And honestly, it was, when I had to work really did not allow me to give the time that I needed to my family, especially at that time. Again, the job was perfect probably up until then, but I just didn't have the time for the family. I was missing out on little weekend trips. I was missing out picking them up from school. Like I just didn't have an opportunity to and be there when, some of these things are happening. And on the other note too, is just, I was getting tired of not being able to move up any further without having to leave the state. Like my next step would have been to leave the state, to go somewhere else, to go to the next level. And having a second kid on the way, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to do that. So I needed.
You had a cap on your income.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this question. Would money have made a difference to you if they offered you more money? Would that have made a difference, and would you have decided to stick with that?
Well, they did offer me more money. They said, here, what they basically said, you write your own ticket. What is it going to take to stay? And it really wasn't enough. Like it was, I really wanted to be there for my family. I feel like I missed so much stuff for my son when he was growing up that I didn't want to miss anymore. And I didn't want to miss what was happening with my daughter. So my wife and I kind of had a good conversation around, what could be the next steps? What can we do? How can I be around more? And kind of real estate kind of came up. I've wanted to get into real estate for many years prior to this, but I couldn't take the jump. I was afraid of not making any money at first. I didn't know, Jackie Stone helped kind of make the decision for me too. It was kind of cool. Trying to take me under her wing to say, you can do this, but it's scary when you are comfortable making a certain amount of money. Even though the potential is limited, being very comfortable, like you're good. You got insurance, got all that stuff, it's.
Yeah. We'll go back a second. And this is the confusing part. You said it's scary, making a comfortable amount of money. Like those are the things that we are up against every single day.
Yes.
I'm scared and I'm comfortable. I'm pissed off and not happy with where I'm at in a way, but I'm comfortable and I'm happy with where I'm at in a way. I mean, there's that dichotomy there and it's not a stretch to think that most of us have those same kind of feelings, and it's just a matter of what you focus on. So what you started focusing on mostly was just the needing to have time with your family and needing to spend some more time with them.
I mean, that was a big thing. And I will tell you, I wasn't happy towards the end of it working there, and that bled into home life. So it was just, everybody could see it in my family and my friends that like, I just wasn't happy, and I needed to be around everybody more. And so they kind of all jumped on board.
Did you know you weren't happy?
Oh, I knew I wasn't happy. Oh yeah.
Were you focusing on that? Like, did you?
Driving into work, like the last store I worked at, I drove, I had to drive into, downtown Tampa. So like I dreaded the drive. I knew when I'm going in, I'm going to hit traffic. It just, everything was kind of negative and just not happy. Like I'm driving in, I'm going to deal with upset people. I'm going to deal with this. I'm going to deal with that. Oh, and I'm missing this weekend. All the kids, everyone's going to Disney and I can't because it's a tax-free weekend and I have to be there.
No, look at these things, and this is what I want everybody online to hear is like these are the catalysts for a change. Somebody, you're unhappy, you're focusing on how unhappy that you are. You already have in your mind that you want to do something else. You have we talked about this yesterday briefly, like, well, you were kind of confused with your why. Well, I mean, I think you just stated what your why was. My family, like I could not do this anymore. Why? Because I needed to be with my family. My family needed me more than anything. So you are focusing on your reason and your purpose and your why. And you were also focusing on how shitty it was to be doing what you were doing, and you can't do that anymore. Till eventually, what did you do? You made a decision.
Oh yeah.
And what did that decision entail? How did that go?
Well, I mean, again, it was my wife actually, whatever. She's in charge. She wears the pants, whatever it is. I'm just kidding. We came to that decision together. And I was actually looking at other places to work at. I got recruited to still stay in retail, to go into the big banking industry, things like that. And she went to, I don't know how many kind of like open houses for new agents just to kind of see what real estate's about. Like she would go with me to these things to kind of see, what could happen. So she kind of just held my hand and said, hey, you know what? I'm going to be there for you. Whatever you want to do. I think this is the best step for us. I think you're going to be great at it. You're great at helping people. I don't, and then she said, and you have to go to Century 21. Like you don't have any choice right now, because she said, if you go somewhere else, I'm going to stop cutting Craig's hair. So you have to stay. I'm just kidding. She basically like just held my hand and said, everything's going to be okay. We had some money saved up already. And she said, whenever you're ready to do it, do it. And it took me a month and a half to say I'm done. And so I finally did it. And it was again, it's still scary. Regardless, I'm like, thank God that's done. And now I have to do this new thing that I have no idea about.
Tell me what it felt like to make that decision. Like, do you remember the day that you decided that no more, that's enough, this is what I'm doing?
Oh yeah, and it was the day that I put it that I was driving into basically put I gave him a month, but to basically put my 2 weeks in. I remember the conversation I had with my wife and how she supported me, and then I ended up calling her mom. I think I called Jackie too. I'm pretty sure, just to, and then I called my mom. Like everybody was all on board, so it was just that made it a zillion times easier just having that support. And then that drive to work was kind of like it was like, okay, I got to do this. I got to do this. I wasn't focusing on the negative though anymore. And then I did it like, okay, it was just like a relief, I guess you could say, at least at that point.
Well, these are the things that really help us to make decisions. You have to either create enough pain in you that you will no longer deal with it, create enough. We're doing everything in our life to avoid pain and go towards pleasure. So you either create enough pain about what you're doing now that you need to pull the trigger, make the change, and do something different because it's too painful to keep doing what I'm doing now, or create enough pleasure with where you're going and what you're planning on doing, which is why a lot of times our reason, our why, our purpose is really big if we can focus on that. So those are the two things that we're doing. So when you were focusing on all how bad things were and how you were creating enough pain that made you get to that point of saying no more, enough is enough. And then the pleasure of knowing that you had your family to support you and everybody knowing that. I mean, you kind of created that perfect storm to help drag you and push you through to that. And, and then you have people like Jackie. I know Jackie's a very positive person as well. So chatting with her and talking with her is probably really positive, and she's telling you about the business. So did you just, when you did that, did you just cut the cord? Like, tell me about that process. Did you just go in and say, hey, I'm done? And, did you have your real estate license? Did you jump right into real estate? Did you work part-time, full-time? How'd that go?
Well, when I did it, I cut the cord, jumped in, I cannonballed in. Actually, it wasn't really just like it was a big splash. So I took a month off. Well, I took like 2.5 weeks off, and then I got my real estate license, and then took the test. I just kind of went through that every step, and then went right into it. I knew that, like, with how I am with wanting to help as many people as I can, and I mean that's definitely something that still holds strong for me now in this business. But I would say that I know I needed to do this full time. I couldn't. There's no way I could have done that job in this job. I would have had no time to be able to take care of the clients that I needed to, especially with the schedule that I had. It just wasn't going to work out. So I jumped in, cannonballed in, made a big splash, and started going. Just did it.
Did you have a backup plan? Did you have a plan B?
No.
So you basically said, no more. I will not continue to do this. And yep. There is no other effing option. This is it, and it's going to work.
Well, yeah, we decided that I shouldn't have a backup plan also, because then I would probably, because we knew that this was going to hard. We didn't realize how hard it was going to be, I guess. But I didn't want that to be a reason or an excuse to not give it everything, and then just have this backup where I can go, okay, well, I'm going to go do this now. That's not what I wanted. If I do it, I want to do it right.
Yep. And that's the whole point. That's the whole point behind that. We're like, when we decide to do something, when you really absolutely make a decision, you make that decision. There's no backup plan. There's no other option. This is what I'm doing. And you can see when he did that, it worked. I mean, how long did you go back and forth with, I'm leaving, I'm staying, I'm leaving, I'm staying, I'm leaving, I'm staying. But then finally it was, I'm done. Did you do that for a little while, or was it just kind of like, it just all culminated and was just like, okay.
It kind of all just kind of built up, and it was just like, okay, I'm just, if I'm going to do it, I need to do it now.
Awesome.
And it was kind of, I felt like it was somewhat strategic, the time frame that I did it and how long it takes to maybe get your first deal and stuff, And talking with Jackie, she kind of helped iron that out. So I wanted to get to the point where I was comfortable enough that, when our selling season was at peak, I was kind of doing better, or I knew what was happening, and I would be having business then.
So what were some of your fears? Like when you first jumped in, what are some of the fears that you had starting out in real estate and, not knowing anything about the business, basically?
Yeah.
What were the fears that you had?
Well, I'd say there are quite a few, and with this, like I'd say there's always something I think that always is in your way, and I don't think fear is bad. I think fear is very, very, very healthy, as long as you can overcome it and it's not controlling your life, I guess you can say. But one of the biggest fears was, am I going to be able to provide, for I was the provider. I had the insurance. I felt like I was making the big bucks. So the fear of not being able to possibly not have any money coming in, that was scary. I came from a company of 14 years where I was the expert. I was the go-to person. And now I'm going into a business that's like, okay, I don't know anything about contracts. I know how to talk to people. That's it. I don't know, everybody I feel almost goes to that. How do I set up a showing? How do I set up searches? How do I follow? Like, what am I supposed to say? And I was the one who taught how to do that.
What do all those things really add up to? What is the big fear that you have? If you can't do that, don't do that. You're gonna do what? It's fear of failure, right?
Yep.
Ultimate fear of failure. And then you also hit on that, like you feared failing, and if you failed, then what? Then if you fail, you won't be good enough for your family, and
Yep.
you're not going to be able to provide. You're not going to be able to do this, that, and the other. And then if you're not able to provide for your family, will they love you?
Well, I found out that they still do love you. Like, they still do.
But there's a lot of fears. We all have fears like that, and they all start to like go down that path. Like, I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid if I do this. Even right now, for the people who've been in real estate for a little while, trying something new, like doing Zoom conferencing, doing videos, doing virtual open houses, doing those things, putting out content that way. There's a fear. What if I'm not good enough? What if I fail? What if they don't like me? What if they this? What if they that? And it all starts going down that path of if I'm not good enough, then the ultimate end is basically, I won't be loved. I won't love myself. Other people won't love me. They won't like me. And if I'm not good enough for that, and they're valid fears, but at the same time, they're bullshit. Like, you have to learn how to control those. I mean, the fear that you had was one that was made up. You made that fear up in your head because you've proven time and time again, you were successful. You were afraid of what you didn't know. You were afraid of being outside of your comfort zone. And once you got outside of your comfort zone, you started experiencing more fears. Did you want to run right back into your comfort zone? Did you have moments where you felt like you wanted to run right back to where you were?
Oh yeah.
And what stopped you from doing that?
What's that?
What stopped you from doing that?
My family. Like, I kept going back. This is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm doing this. I go back to that, then I'm in the same situation, unhealthy, whatever it was that I was going through.
Picking up, being able to pick up your kids at daycare and being able to.
Right. Oh yeah. Like yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's an all, and I can relate to that in a lot of ways, because that's what I was doing in the same way. I was, I didn't cut the cord. I gave myself no other option but to be successful, and I gave myself an end date of when I was going to quit quit the other job. But I worked 2 full-time jobs, real estate, and worked at the casino bartending, and it did the same thing. But the first time that you're able to do something like that, to be able to go and pick up your kids at daycare, go and, just pull up into the driveway and go see, your wife in the middle of the day if they're home, and just being able to just to hug them and see them there. It's an amazing, great, awesome feeling.
Oh yeah.
All right. So what do you think was the hardest, talking about real estate and starting this business, what was the hardest part for you? What was the hardest thing for you to master in the beginning and actually wrap your head around in the beginning in real estate?
Well, I think everything I'm going to say kind of comes around to kind of have my mindset 100%. I mean, I had issues with scheduling because I was used to having a schedule given to me, so I had to do that. I had issues with, well, I did know everything and now I don't. So now I need to figure out all this stuff before I can even help anybody. And I think really what it came down to is I was still stuck on, this is what I was supposed to be doing. This is how much I made. This is what I did. That it was very hard. Like, it took me some time to kind of get over that hump. Even though, like, I've had people that help me with scheduling or whatever it may have been at that time. But it really took me longer than I would have liked to kind of get over that hump. To be confident enough just to say, you know what, it is what it is. This is what I'm going to do each day. This is what and I'm going to learn as I go. And one of the things I have learned is like I was so afraid that I didn't have enough knowledge that I don't care. It doesn't matter how much knowledge you have when you first start off. Every transaction is completely different. Every client is totally different. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter. I'm learning something every single time I help someone. So I wish I had known that earlier, because I think I would have jumped in a lot sooner, I would say, to actually, doing business or doing more business or the activities. I would have done that a lot sooner if I had known that I'm going to learn something about it, no matter
Well,
what.
I mean, it's an identity crisis because you defined yourself as this person. You defined yourself as this provider. You defined yourself as a high income earner. You defined yourself as someone who had a schedule and worked and did this and did that, who everybody looked up to. You defined yourself as somebody who had all the answers all of the time. And now all of a sudden, you're having an identity crisis because you're not that person, and you're telling yourself every day that you're not that person. You don't know this, you don't have that, you don't this, you don't this, you can't do that because of this. You're telling yourself all of those things until what you said is you literally said it. You said, took a while to get to that point where I just started telling myself something different. And that's really what it comes down to, is telling ourselves something different than what we're telling ourselves right now. If you're not doing what you want to be doing, if you're not doing the things that you should be doing, listen to the words and things you're telling yourself. You're telling yourself every day that I'm not good enough. I can't do this. What if they don't like me? What if I don't succeed? What if this? I can't that. I'm not this. And then you have to start telling yourself something different. You tell yourself something different, like I am a master of my schedule. Even if you're not quite yet, start telling yourself something different, because the alternative is I suck at scheduling, I suck at this, and I suck at that, and you're not going to get anywhere doing that. And so you went through that progression, but you got to that point. You said, look, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to know everything right away. It doesn't freaking matter what you don't know or you do know, because I'm just as good at anybody else at talking to people and communicating. Good. What was it that kind of got you to that point? What was it that got you over that hump where you were saying like I can't do this. I don't have a schedule. I'm not this. I'm not the income earner I was. What was it that kind of got you over that? What was the thing that really just kind of put that wall up and blocked out all the bullshit and allowed you to see clearly a little bit more?
I really think that's when I started to consciously understand that unconsciously my mind was doing some crazy stuff. Like it's hard to explain. Like I just finally realized kind of what was happening. I had some help. I know you have helped me out a ton too, but I finally understood and realized kind of what was happening, and just I had this switch on of it was all about my mindset and just doing the things that you even said. If I'm the master of my own schedule, I'm an awesome real estate agent. I know what I'm doing. I can talk to people, and guess what? I have a team behind me that can help me with whatever I need. So no matter what, I can get the answer that I need to. And then all of a sudden, I just kind of got this swagger, I guess.
Well, you can see it now.
That's what it felt like.
You can see it now in the way that you're talking. When you were talking about the other things, you were kind of looking up, and you're just kind of a little hunched over. You're a little more reserved. But then when you started, it's like you literally transported back into that place where you like, this is where I am, and this is what I have to do to be that person. And you literally just started doing it. Said, no, I am awesome. I am this. I am a great agent. I am that. And you transformed. So you can see there's a huge difference in your mindset, but also your physical body too. And you get so much energy and passion into it. It's a big change. It's, those are the things that we all start to incorporate when you start telling yourself something different, and you get this, there's this little thing inside of you when you're telling yourself something different and you start to believe it for that first time, and you start getting some more energy into it. And from that point, things just start snowballing and just getting better and better and better and bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's, you can see it. You still, to this minute, when you put yourself back into that place, you just, something, it's like a switch. You can see the change, and that's freaking awesome. Now, do you have anybody that you mentor, that you say, this is somebody I look up to, this is somebody that I emulate and I do things after? And also, do you have a coach that you use to help hold you accountable?
Well, I mean, I use this guy on the other screen right next to me, Chris, to help me coach, get me where I need to be. And it's to the point where I don't even, and I'm not on this call because he does this for me. Like, that's not the reason I'm here, but I would tell you a great coach is somebody who can recognize kind of what's going on. And I mean, it can just be a phone call. It doesn't even have to be sitting down. Like he just knows kind of what's happening. And he knows the best way to say things to help for me to understand and shift my mindset back. Because my mindset goes all over the place still. It still goes back and forth all the time. So I would say that, I mean, Chris has probably made one of the biggest impacts in my career or in my business to this date. And as a mentor, I have some people that I'm working with that I am trying to mentor, but you can only go so far. I can only do so much.
What about people that you look up to? Anybody that, whether it's real estate or not, who do you look up to? Who's somebody that you would look to and say, I would love to have that person as my mentor and be able to be closer to that person and emulate some of the things that they do? Who do you look up to?
There's this agent up in Ohio that I absolutely love, and we talk kind of all the time. He's kind of the reason I do my where's it at, my funky stuff back over here. Like he's kind of the reason, and his attitude and his faith and his family, and I really look kind of up to him of how he handles his business, and he kind of brings that flair that, I mean, it was really another turning point for me to try something different, to do something differently and brand myself differently. And he kind of had this impact that he didn't even know until I finally reached out and said, oh my God, you have no idea what you've done for me. And we communicate, all the time.
That's awesome. That's really cool. So that brings us to the next part of this segment. And you're hinting at it with what you're talking about. So tell us a little bit about that. Like, so that transition from this guy that you see that's doing these really cool things that you just thought was absolutely amazing. How did you say, I love what he's doing? And how did you get to a point you're saying, I can do that and I'm going to do something like that? And how did that kind of evolve into what you are today and what you're doing today?
Honestly, I was so used to seeing a lot of real estate agents kind of do the same stuff. You see the same type of walkthroughs, the same type of posts, the same type of, everything. And that's what I pictured this, like as a real estate agent, that's what I'm going to be. And then I just saw some things that he was doing and I had this epiphany and I said, you know what? I've always had fun with what I'm doing. Why am I not having fun with my business? Like, why am I not? People may not like it. That's fine. But that's me. This is what people kind of expect out of me. And I've been silent for too long. And so I just went and I bought a costume and I said, you know what? I got this house. I talked to the seller. It had to be the right person to do it. And I was just like, hey, I want to do this. And she absolutely loved the idea. So I was like, okay, let's just go and, we're going to shoot from the hip and we're going to do a Facebook Live video. Let's just do it. And I thought I failed miserably at it. My pants fell down. Like, it was just tough. It was
before you go any further, for those of you who don't know, Jimmy, you were the unicorn in my listing video.
Yes, I was.
That's right. But for those of you who don't know, what costume did you buy, and who is the alter ego that you?
Okay. So I bought, and if you guys want to, by all means, go to my YouTube page and you can see a ton of videos there. On my Facebook page, just go to, or just hashtag #BatRealtor in Google and you're gonna find some stuff. So I dressed up like Batman. And well, this was the cool thing, is I did it right before Halloween. So if it wasn't going to work out, I had a costume. So, I mean, ideally it still was going to work out. And so I dressed up like Batman and I took the hashtag #BatRealtor and said, you know what, I'm going to try this. And I did it. And the engagement was insane. I had people reaching out even from the office saying, hey, we need to do some more videos. So, I've done, and I have more costumes besides just #BatRealtor, but that one tends to kind of play to my, I guess, strengths. And then ever kind of since then, I just said, you know what, I know some people aren't going to like it, but I don't care what anybody thinks. They're going to like me regardless. Some people will, some people won't. It is what it is. But you know what, this is me. I'm going to have some fun doing this, and let's just go from here. And then it gave me a little bit different type of content that you would normally see from a real estate agent. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm going for it.
Well, think about that. What kind of attitude do you have to have? What kind of for lack of a better word, what kind of balls do you have to have where in real estate, every picture of an agent is like this or like this, to dress up like Batman and say, no, I'm making videos like this and I'm gonna sell houses like this and people are gonna see it, people are gonna like it. That takes a lot of courage to be able
But
to
hey, I got to put on a mask, so it kind of like I was like, I'm gonna be this other person, so nobody is gonna know it's me. Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. So and so that leads me to, you seem very secure with yourself doing these videos. Like I've been there with you. You've shot a couple of videos, and you've helped out with a couple of things there. You've done a lot of them on your own. You've done a lot with other people. So you seem really secure doing them. Like what can you attribute that to? Are you that secure with yourself doing them, or do you just have an F it moment? Like, screw it, I don't care. It's just, this is what I'm doing, and this is what I'm going to put out there.
Both. How about both? Sometimes I'm just like, you know what? I'll come, like, I'll even call you and be like, hey, what do you think about this idea? And I can tell in your eyes, you're like, no, so I may just be, you know what, F it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And worst case scenario, it's not going to turn out okay and I won't do it again. Or, but I am pretty confident in it. Like, I don't, like, it doesn't bother me. Like, I don't really, I hate to say I don't care what people think, because, there's a side of me that does. But,
everybody has that.
But at the same time, it's like this is kind of who I am. If it's not going to be dressed up like a bat, it's going to be dressed up as a unicorn, or it's going to be, I've had many unicorn videos. I don't know. It's just
T-Rex.
It's just kind of me. It's just me. So like I'm very confident to be being myself.
So Lauren just commented, always respect the heck out of you for doing that and being creative and being you and never looking back. It doesn't matter what people think. And that's true. It doesn't matter. But a lot of us have something in us that has that block that says, what are they going to say? What are they going to do? What are they going to be? Well, I mean, if they have that much, just think about how much control you're giving them by doing that. How much control are you giving somebody else over your life? These are your kids. This is your family. This is your life. This is your income. This is your future. And you're giving somebody that you don't even know so much power to stop you from achieving and doing everything that you can do and will do and are, looking to do in the future because of what you think what they're going to think about you. Who cares? It doesn't matter what they think about you, because there's going to be people like we always say, attract and repel. People are going to be attracted to what you're going to do, or people are going to be repelled by what you do. Either one is fine. I don't want them. That's our weeding out phase. I don't want the people who don't want to be a part of me. I don't want people who don't like what I'm doing. Everybody who's going to like it is going to like it. And guess what? They're going to tune in and they're going to watch more of it. It's the same way that not everybody likes the same actors. It's the same kind of thing. Do they think that, I'm really worried about what people are going to think of me in this next movie. They don't care. Not everybody likes everything the same, which is why we have so many different restaurants, so many different stores, 500 different gas stations and convenience stores, different grocery, all that kind of stuff. Not everybody's going to like everything the same. So you have to get out there and be you and spread some of that, spread some of who you are, because people are going to like it. So along those lines, have you always had that in you? Was the Batman kind of just like you said, I went out and bought a costume. Was Batman kind of something that's just evolved, or was the Batman part of you always? You're like, I've always liked Batman and I've always thought it was cool to do that.
Well, I mean, I've always done it. I always talk like my kids love it when I did that anyways. And I've had little tiny masks and stuff. I said, no, I'm going to do this. Let's just, let's try this. Like, I mean, I do. I like comic books. I like, movies and stuff like that. Like, I'm all over, all that kind of stuff. So when I pick something that I enjoy, and I tell this to everybody when people ask me, like, wow, I can't believe you did that. And I'm like, well, pick your passion. Pick something that you are excited about. Use that. To get comfortable getting in front of people and talking. Talk about something you absolutely love. And then the more you start doing it, the more confident you get. And then you can start sliding into some of that other stuff. If you're afraid, to talk about it. But, I've always, kind of loved Batman, loved those characters. And my son loved the Flash. So I knew that at this time I didn't, but now he does some videos with me, just have a little fun with it.
Well, think about that too. You're going to go and you have to control the questions that you're asking yourself. So you came up with something and you said, how can I do real estate, sell real estate, do what everybody's telling me to do, which is maybe create some videos, but not look like everybody else that's out there? How can I do this and have fun with it? How can I do this and enjoy that? What do I enjoy? What do I like? You started asking yourself some really powerful questions that really started digging into who you were and saying, how can I do something that's work that I know is going to provide for my family and enjoy it? And then you started asking yourself, well, what do I enjoy? What do I like? And I mean, everything just kind of came together and it worked out. But have you tried other things before that that didn't work?
I mean, nothing that I felt.
Not necessarily videos or anything like that, but if you tried doing other things in the business before that didn't work, that just, it wasn't you, you didn't enjoy it, it wasn't fun, but it just didn't make sense to you.
I felt like I was trying to be someone totally different. And I mean, I know you've even heard this from me. It'd be like, you're too salesman-y. Like, you sound like a salesperson. Be yourself. And so, I got into this business thinking I needed to be this one person here. Yeah. And then after it kind of all, like, everything was all over the place, and then it finally just clicked, and it was all kind of around the same time, I realized that this is who I am over here. I don't need to try to be someone else. I don't need to act like somebody else. I don't need to have everything look exactly the same. Like, that's not me. I need to, if I'm going to succeed, I need to be myself. I need to still have fun. I need to enjoy what I'm doing. And I need to do something that will allow me to, be happy like that. And that's kind of what happened. I felt like I was doing things that just felt very robotic, and I just wasn't myself. And then finally I flipped that switch, and I'm like, and it just happened that I ended up being a bat, but I just flipped the switch and said, this is who I need to be. And I get it from a lot of people. Like, we'll do videos and they'll even say, look, you do so much better when you're dressed up as a bat than you do. Like, you just do so much better. You're so much more comfortable. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
The last one that I did with you, that's you even said that. You're like, man, why do I have such a hard time being me when I'm not dressed up? It's so much better when I'm wearing a bat suit. I can just do whatever. It's hilarious, and it is funny because when you're trying to be you, the realtor, I think it's kind of defining. Like, when you're trying to be you, the realtor, you are being so. Sometimes you were being very salesy. You would be like, here and there, let's talk about this. Thoroughbred loop is a beautiful but then you put on the bat costume and you're like, all right, guys, and then you just jump straight in and you're just like, oh, no BS, this is what it is. And I think you find that balance in between the two, where you're being yourself. You have that edge of professionalism that you need, that little bit that you need in this business, but you're still being yourself, and everybody's going to see you for who you are. That's awesome, man. So we talked about how that came about. How has that helped your business? So you getting into this, shooting these videos, being Bat Realtor, and doing getting content out there, getting some feedback. How has that helped your business?
Well, at first, when I did this too, I was like, I don't care what it's going to do for my business. I'm going to do this regardless. This is me. So I didn't want to say I had a number. I actually didn't think I was going to get much from it. But obviously, engagement-wise has been spectacular for me. But like, I actually get business from it now. I have people that, they may have kids and they want to go see houses and they want me to dress up. I literally had, everybody always says something about it when they call, but I literally had someone call me and said, "Hi, this is Robin. I need Batman to come sell my house." I would have put a sign up in this, like, literally, that's what she said.
That was your first conversation with
That was the first line she said. I'm Robin. I need Batman to sell my house.
That's awesome.
I would have put a sign up in the sky. I would have put the bat symbol up in the sky, but I don't have one. So I figured I'd call you.
That's amazing.
But it's funny. She didn't actually want me to dress up and do a video. But that's what she said, and that's how she knew me. But she didn't, so I didn't actually do that video. I didn't do a video like that there.
Isn't that crazy? You have people that, they see that, they're attracted to that, but they don't want any part of that in their listing. But that's what got them to say, wow, this guy's pretty cool. He thinks outside the box. Let me give him a call. Let me see if I can get a feeling for him on what he can do for me. That's really cool.
It was cool.
Oh man, that's fun. That's funny. So you led into some of the other things that I was asking you. You've got some leads from doing that. So it's benefited your business as far as not just exposure, but also you're getting leads from that as well.
Yeah, definitely getting business, hands down.
So where else are you getting business from? So aside from like some of the video content that you put out there, where are you using your primary activities to generate new leads in business?
I spend a lot of time. My main focus is on my sphere, and also, I mean, I guess I would just say all sphere. But have been focusing on the professional side of my sphere. So I still have my friends and family and their friends and all that kind of stuff that I am continuously, sometimes probably bombarding too much. But I'm focusing on the professionals that I have been building relationships with the past few years, to try and generate leads from them. So everyone from, I have, brokers, I have inspectors, cleaners, car tinting guy, whoever I'm sending, because I want to be that go-to for everything. So I'm just sending it, just trying to stay in contact with them. I'm asking for them business, for business from them, because I'm giving them business. When I need someone to clean a house, I'm having them come in and do it. If I need a mover, I'm having them do it. Someone gets a new car and they want to get windows tinted, I got a guy that's going to do that. I send them business all the time. So I go back and I'm just having those relationships with them to request, ask for business back. That's all I'm doing. And then obviously I'm still I'm doing a lot of stuff that, Mike has talked about, Craig has talked about, going through, each day messaging, putting content up, things like that. That's also helping me get more referrals than more specific from them, but I'm still getting business.
Now you said you work in your sphere. I know when we first started talking, you had a block about your sphere, like you didn't want to.
I think that's good.
Yeah. So what was that block, and what was it that it really kind of took to to get through that, and how has that progressed, and have you gotten any positive outcomes out of that?
So, and I think, a lot of people probably go through this when they have been in a business and they're going into something different. I needed to rely on the relationships I built prior for those 14 years for my business. And I'm going to say it again, I was scared to talk to them. I was afraid that they would judge from what I was doing and what I'm doing now. I really was I couldn't call some of these people because I was afraid of how they were going, how they thought of me. So, I actually had a moment. You helped me through this, but I also had a couple friends and agents that did the same thing for me and said, you know what, you are doing a phenomenal job. You are doing a great job as a real estate. There's no real estate agent. There's no reason why you can't call them and ask them for business. See how everything's going on with them. Let them know that even where you're at today is because of them, because it's true. They taught me so much and got me to that point that why can't I reach out to them? And then finally, I remember the day I was in a parking lot. I was actually in the parking lot in Brandon by Ford's garage or whatever. I was just there because I was talking. I don't know if you remember. He doesn't do real estate anymore. But I was talking to one of my coworkers, and he was just like, man, he started cussing at me. He's like, you're gonna get on the phone and you're gonna call him right now, and then you're gonna call me back and tell me how it went. Next thing you know, 30 minutes later goes by. He calls me back. He said, how'd it go? I said, I haven't called yet. I'm still sitting in my car. I'm actually at this point walking around the car. So finally, he ended up driving up and almost literally dialed the phone number for me and said, just do it and just talk to him. So I finally did it. I finally called it. It was an old district manager that for some reason I was scared of. Asked him for business. He wasn't ready and didn't know anybody at the time. But then after I made that first phone call and I did that, I was reaching out to everybody that I was afraid of originally, scared to talk to, and I've gotten a decent amount of business from it too. I get a lot of managers now are reaching out to me, letting me know their employees are buying, their kids are need to buy a house, whatever it is. They're really thinking of me for that now. And I was so frustrated that it just took 10 minutes of my life. That literally took 3 years to do. It felt like.
Well, yeah, everybody goes through that. Every single one of you online has been through this at some point where you don't want to call someone, whether it's a past client, a current buyer or seller, your friends, your family, your sphere, whatever that is. There's people you don't want to call. It's because you're telling yourself some bullshit story about how they're going to react whenever you call them, or how they're not going to want this and they're not going to that. You literally made up all of this crap in your head.
Everything.
Just like you did it exactly that way. You sat there for however many minutes, walking around your car, sitting in your car, going through every possible scenario that could happen, and not one of them was what actually freaking happened. Not any of them were what happened. And that's what we do to ourselves on a daily basis. We tell ourselves all of the worst freaking things that can happen. And, so sometimes we have to tell yourself, you have to start asking yourself a better question. What happens if I call this person and they give me business and they like me and they refer more business to me and they give me, and I'm able to build a better relationship with them? What if you start making something good? Craig says it all the time. Everything in your head, everything in your life, everything that goes on is made up. So why not make up something that makes you feel good? So start making up a better story. Start telling yourself a better story about what's actually going to happen rather than the bullshit story that's gotten you nowhere up until that point. Change your story and you can change your life. So start changing the story that's in your head and it'll start changing. So I got through that and that. What are some of the biggest struggles that you have? Well, what right now today, what are some of the biggest struggles that you have? Whether it's personal, business, correlated together, what are some of the struggles that you go through?
Well, I'd say, I can mix it together because it's all kind of together right now, just with everybody being home and 2 kids and teaching and then trying to do business and get listings and show houses and it's just, the scheduling time for me, getting a schedule together, not just for me, but for my family, has been really, really tough with the kids, really, really tough. And then obviously, personally, having to do the teaching side, and it's not that my wife can't, but obviously I went to school for it. So it makes the most sense for me to be able to do, a lot of the schoolwork. And I know we've been on the phone, you've heard some of the conversations and how crazy it can go. So, that's a challenge. And honestly, personally, I'm not trying to throw my personal stuff out there, but, I think a lot of people are going through it. Obviously the kids are home, can't really go anywhere. I know they're starting to open up some things now, but are you really going out and doing that stuff? I know I'm not yet. My wife, she's a hairdresser. She's not working and she hasn't worked for some time now. And we're hoping that she's going to, get back to work soon. So I will tell you that it's a challenge, but it's also a blessing kind of where we're at, and personally and professionally, that, keeping a positive mindset right now through all this, being thankful, showing your gratitude, but letting them hear it and see those things. This is a crazy ass time right now. All I can say is just everything feels kind of weird. That's what I tell everybody. It's just kind of weird. Not in a bad way for me. There's so many things I could be thinking of, that could be on a negative, that could negatively impact my family, my mentality, my mindset. But I will tell you, through this challenging time, this is the closest and the best that I've been with my family and how we're acting, because we're all working on our mindset. We're all, I just had a phenomenal conversation with my 8-year-old to help him start understanding, to a small degree, just of how to be grateful and thankful, and the things that you need to look forward to when this is done. Not the things you can't do now, but the things to look forward to when this is over. And it has been a challenge, but I'll tell you, it's kind of been an amazing challenge. It's my mindset is completely different. If this happened a year, 2 years ago, oh my God, you'd be talking, I wouldn't be doing anything. I'd be a hermit, somewhere, it wouldn't be, you wouldn't even hear from me, if that makes sense.
What are you really doing right now? You're really planting seeds in everything. Planting seeds in business, planting seeds in your kids, planting seeds, in your relationship. You're planting seeds right now, and right now is the time that you plant and you water, and you plant and you water, and you plant and you water. And once everything does start to change a little bit, everything will start to flourish and grow. There's the story of the Chinese bamboo tree. They say, it takes 5 years. You put a seed in the ground and water it every day. It takes 5 years till it ever gets out of the ground. But then once it gets out of the ground, in less than a year, it grows 50 feet tall. So did it grow that tall in 1 year, or did it grow that tall in 6 years, in the 5 years, and then the 1 year that it took? So right now you're just planting seeds and you're feeding your family and your business with water. And when everything does change and this market does change around the way that the way that Jeff and a lot of the economists are saying it's going to, we're going to see a huge flourishing, and you're going to be in a much better position because you've been planting these seeds the whole time, preparing yourself, getting yourself ready. And that's really what it's about. So we're winding down on time here, but let's see. We'll get some. Tell me the craziest real estate story that you have. Craziest real estate story. Craziest thing you've seen in a house or walked in on in a house. Give me something crazy, something funny.
Okay, I mean, I feel like there's a decent amount, but okay, I'll tell you, it's a little story, so I have to kind of lead up to it. So we know that every seller we have is perfect, right? You don't have anyone psycho. You don't have anyone that Okay, so just think of someone who is like completely just like out there and doesn't want to do anything, but finally you get the house listed, you get it under contract like in 2 days, and you get an inspection back that says it smells really bad in the laundry room, and the inspector says that there's something dead in the wall. And so I'm like, cool, so you actually, and he did say rodent, so I'm like, I didn't realize you were like a pest inspector, but that's amazing, that's pretty cool. And so after calling around to see what we can do, I couldn't really get the correct answer. So my seller decided, she's like, well, I'm going to see if I can find this thing. I'm like, okay, and the buyer was cool with it. I just happened to be coming by the house just to kind of see how everything's going, and she's in the garage with a sledgehammer. Washer and dryer pulled out, and I walk in, and she goes, and she's got like a few holes in it. She goes and hands me the sledgehammer. She goes, I know, like I've been really stressful, but I want you to take it out on this wall. And I said, no, I cannot do that. You cannot be held responsible. I just want to see if I can find out if there's truly something in this wall, and then I'm going to have someone come and redo it. So I'm so smart that I'm like, hey, let me see if I can figure out where this might be. So I don't know if anyone has ever tried to find something dead in a wall before, but picture somebody standing up against the wall with their nose right up against the wall, walking down it, trying to get the worst smell. And lo and behold, we bust this wall out, and this nasty ass rat just falls, or mouse, or whatever, dead mouse, just falls out. The seller runs outside and throws up in the trash can. I'm almost there. I'm like on the other side getting ready, like I'm driving. And I was just like, listen, you do not tell anybody that I did that for you, okay? Because I ended up picking it up with like a whole bunch of trash. But I was like, nobody needs to know that I'm going to come look for rats if that's the case. But it was like the weirdest. It was so weird. It was just like nasty. It was just like, oh God, it was just nasty. It was nasty.
Yeah, I definitely can't top that one. That's a good one. So, all right, guys, we're winding down. Jimmy, anything that you wanted to share with with everybody online about anything at all, just about your how your business is, anything you can impart on them, any bit of wisdom that you think you want to leave them with?
I would say that, like, I mean, I've learned a lot, and I'm always learning. You're always going to learn. You're always going to get knowledge. You're always going to run into issues, and you're going to have to learn from it. You're probably going to have hiccups going through. I mean, there's ups and downs, and it's not just because of the business. It's just because of you. You may, you'll be going crazy, and then you slow back down. Like, again, you just have to continue to grow. But one of the biggest things, especially for the new agents, and even right now, and even for agents that have been around for a while, like, you have to do something. Like, it took me a while to get going because I was afraid to do it. And I get it. You have to get over that hurdle, but you have to go do it. Don't be worried about if you know the right answers. Don't worry if you know the correct contract to use right now. Don't worry if you don't know how to set up a showing. Our job is to talk to people, start talking to people. And there's enough people in our company that are willing. I'm willing to help. Call me and say, hey, holy crap, I finally got a client. I don't know how to do this. Will you help me? I will do everything that I can to support you or whatever it will take. And that's what I love about this company. So use the tools that we have, but go out and do something. Don't wait. Because if this surge is coming and you're waiting for it, you're already going to be behind the 8 ball.
Yep. Now that's an awesome message, and that's that leads us into wrapping up here. It's like reach out to me, reach out to your manager, reach out to Craig, Jeff, Thomas, Deb, Kathleen, everybody, Otis. Reach out to anybody anytime that you have any questions. Reach out to another agent. You heard the story about Jimmy working with somebody else who literally drove to where he was and sat down with him and basically dialed the damn phone for him and made him call somebody. So use everybody that you work with as a resource. That's the one thing that we have that separates us from a lot of people, is we have a ton of resources. We just have to be resourceful enough to use them and find the way that we can all benefit from that. So with that, it's 9:30. I hope you guys have a wonderful Wednesday. Jimmy, thank you so much for joining me this morning. I appreciate it. And
Thanks for having me.
Yep, well, have a great day, and we will talk with you soon.